I
Did
think
we
he
lose
just
him?
dropped.
We lost him.
Yep,
Okay.
this is what happens
Shaolin,
when you use.
Shaolin makes a brief appearance.
Across
Yep.
the board.
Oh no, now he's back. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know what
That's
he's like
funny.
5 minutes behind us.
That's funny. Uh, okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm gonna assume that we're on the air. What do you think? Are we
We are
live?
on the air.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're
What's up?
live. Shallon is kind of stuck in time, but you know what? We're gonna keep going.
No,
Do you want to kick
I
us
think
off, Ben, or
he's real
should I?
time now.
Yep.
Okay, he's real time now. Okay, so we're doing some fun stuff around onboarding and streamlining the adding and connecting a vehicle process. Um, so I have a little sort of prototype I put together that I need to put in front of you, Aaron, and
Yep.
have you be upset about whatever it is I'm asking you to do.
Just to preface it with a little disclaimer.
I'm not actually doing anything crazy, but we can walk through
Mm,
sort of also, I think maybe people find it interesting, like how we actually got
yeah.
to the solution that we got to, because there's a whole bunch of options that came from a whole bunch more options.
Yeah.
And, uh, these are things that like you can drag your feet on them and you can make these things, you can go way too deep on things if you want. I think we have hit near that point. So
We're at the
we're at
precipice.
significantly at
Yeah.
diminishing returns, so it is time to build this now.
You know what,
But
Ben? I don't think we kicked this thing off right. We got to do a little intro, right?
what sort of intro do I have to do?
Well, for people who are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the
Oh,
Watch Us
geez.
Work. This
Yeah.
is where Ben and Aaron, the two guys who are. What are we, Ben? Are we your designer? I'm front end engineering. How would you describe us?
Do I get to pick my job title?
Oh,
That's what we're
that's it.
doing. You're looking at my
Oh,
screen here,
yep.
and we're gonna walk through, yeah, basically how we build
How we
what we're
build the
building.
DIMO mobile app.
Yes,
For
fun stuff.
people who don't know what DIMO is or just stumbled upon what this is, DIMO is a Web3 project. We are working on the next generation of connected vehicle applications. Really cool stuff going on. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, check out our Twitter, check out our Discord. The Discord's super lively, lots going on there. We've got a new website coming out too.
Yeah, I don't get to spoil that one. Maybe we'll get
Yeah,
Daniel and
we,
Co
we
on
might have
here.
to bring on Daniel as a special
Yeah.
guest to kind of give like some of the thoughts there. But yeah, basically, this is where Ben and I kind of get together, hack on some stuff, and think about how we're going to make the Demo mobile app, just
Cool.
that much better.
Have you satisfied with your introduction?
I think I'm good. I
Okay.
scratched an itch. I had an itch and I scratched it. I think we can move on now.
All right. All
He's
right.
in front of the camera. Do it.
Oh
I
my
had to
God.
do it,
There he
always
is.
playing the showman.
Okay. So I'm gonna get into what we're actually doing here.
Ben wants to work.
Ben
He's
wants
like,
to work.
screw
Yeah.
you guys, I'm working.
So for people who are familiar with or who were here last week, or who are just familiar with the product, our onboarding process is a bit lengthy,
Hmm.
and in and among other things that I've been working on, and Aaron's been working on improving other parts of the UI, and a whole big new screens and features that we've put out or are about to put out. We've been taking a look through how we can make that process better and how we can ship an update that will make it easier for people to connect, make it more clear what they're doing, how they're connecting, and sort of make that process and that first impression when you're adding a vehicle, if you're an existing user or if you're a brand new user, how we can make that a really good experience for people.
Hmm.
So in and among that, we're getting a cool update from our backend folks, which is going to let us sort of streamline that process even more from a software side, from a just like an integration side. So currently on
Hmm.
the product, you need to go through, enter a make, model, year of your car, then decide how you want to connect. Then you log into Smart Car or log into your OEM through Smart Car, our provider, and then you land on your vehicle screen, or then you actually land on like name your car, and then you land on your home screen. So if you
Yep.
just want to get in and like get something done, it's a bit of a slog. So we're actually getting a cool update from our back end, which is going to let us log right into your OEM. We're going to pull your make, model, year, and all of that straight from the OEM, and
Yep.
you'll be able to just go in. You can see a lot fewer screens.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, last week when we were here, we talked about what we had beforehand and where we ended up. You kind of gave your own little analysis of what you didn't like about what we did before. I'm assuming you did something similar with this process here. And we don't need to go through the whole gambit, but, you know, give us, like, for the people here who aren't really into UI UX, like, why is it having fewer screens or a more straightforward process like such a big deal?
I think it's just getting people to the point.
Hmm.
You know, I want it to be, even to the conversation that we had earlier today about like, what is the messaging on these buttons? What's the label on these buttons look like?
Hmm.
It needs to be crystal clear what you're doing, and it needs to go as quickly as sort of your mind can comprehend it. So if you see big button, you want to hit button and go to the next thing. If you know
Yep.
that you want to enter a car's make, model, year, you don't need to go through like a whole slog with a whole bunch of animations or a whole bunch of whatever. You just want to get there because ultimately this process is supposed to be nice and it's supposed to be, enjoyable, but realistically, you're not going to go through it that many times, and the meat
Yep.
of why you're here is in the actual product. So the amount of out of that, uh, it just makes people's lives easier. So
Totally agree.
I'm gonna just start off with where we're at. This is my kind of nearly ready for handoff, version of this. So
Hmm.
we'd arrive at Connect a Car either by tapping the Add a New Vehicle button in the app, or when we're first onboarding a user, they'd have set up their account. Now they'd end up here. We're using a nice render that maybe people have seen in some of our marketing stuff. Shout out to Abby, aka Shiny.
Yeah, great
for
work.
this stuff. It's pretty killer, getting a
So
lot of
cool.
love. Um, Basically, from this, I can do one of two things. I can connect with my car's app. So if I have a Ford Pass, Tesla app, OnStar, whatever I need to,
Yep.
whatever my car company gives me, or I can connect with a DIMO miner. So for today, we're just going to go through your car's app, not the DIMO miner.
Just a quick note about that background image. I think Ben, you and I are just such suckers for good imagery. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, there's nothing that kills the mood worse than like when you get into an app and it's just like this like low quality kind of like doesn't make sense.
It's like that
But
stock art style,
yeah,
that like stock, like
yeah,
vector art thing. Yeah, everybody, we talked about, brand here, and we did some brand work and
yep,
all that. There are few things that I have seen the entire team here like universally united on, and not using like crappy vector art was one of the things that everybody was like, we
yep.
are not doing that. 100% consensus. So
And it's such
you
a
know
cool photo. I mean, I know Abby is been with us for some time. She understands the brand, understands what we like, what we don't like, but being the kind of thing that we are in the space that we are, cars are very real. The idea of like this data that's coming from your car is very real. But then Web3 is not so whatever.
it's
It's
gonna
still
be
kind of like
cooler
being,
when it
yeah. It's
animates.
like
When it
it's like
animates, it's
it's
gonna
like the
look
sky.
really cool.
It's limitless. And she totally just knocked it out of the park. Like this cool diving into this app with your car splash with
Hmm.
the galaxy background.
Well, I made the galaxy background. Give me
All
some
right,
credit.
you know what they say: two heads are better than one.
Yeah. We're gonna get into connecting with my cars app. A few things that to call out here. So we've got one of the things we do on a screen like this. Again, my goal is to get you through it. You're not supposed to linger on. If we're here, right? This is like, ooh, cool. I'm getting ready to start a workflow. This is an appropriate place to put like a nice big, rich image because I haven't really started the flow yet. I've just arrived at it. Maybe, I'm accessing this from multiple places in the app, not just my initial onboarding. So this is like cool, it's a little primer before I dive into the actual workflow. When I get into the workflow, the focus here is just getting you through it. It doesn't need to I don't need to hide a bunch of features. There shouldn't be really much discoverability here. What should be happening here is I should just be getting through this. So we put this little popular section up at the top for some of our more popular, automakers. I just stuck BMW up there, but I do know Ford and Tesla are two of our most popular companies. So if we seem to be reaching those markets a lot. Tesla, it makes a lot of sense why. Ford makes
we have
some
the
sense
data.
why. Yeah, we have the data, right? Whatever. So we're able to put these up at the top so that when we're reaching people that, we are often reaching, they're able to just say, oh, okay, cool, there's me. I can just tap that. For everybody else, you get to scroll through.
Now you and I, we had some back and forth on this because I wanted a search. Tell me why you vetoed it.
I vetoed a search for a couple reasons. One, there's not that many OEMs, and the experience of like scrolling through a list of your OEMs is not that foreign to people. Like, and search is additional engineering time and effort that we could probably put somewhere else. We're also solving for, we're solving a bit by surfacing popular makes and models. We're also making it really clear it's visual on this list. Like here, I don't even need to read it. I can just look for like my logo. There's my
That's a cool feature. I
whatever.
Agree.
And yeah, I mean, maybe it's the sort of thing that we put out and we start to realize, people are like, oh, it sucks to have to scroll all the way down to D for Dodge. But like, if we start to get that feedback, then we'll revisit it. But for right now, it's like there's a lighter lift on the engineering side by not doing that. And
no, it looks good. It does. I like the idea of photos. I mean, who likes to read, right?
Right.
Reading it's overrated. It's
so
like
speaking of reading.
Oh, jeez.
The thing that we did do here is with this backend update, we're going to be able to pull the names of the connected vehicle service into the product along with the logo. So you can come in here and be like, okay, and if people are looking at these and are like, those are not the right names, I just wrote whatever.
There's always going to be that one guy.
Sure, hi, that guy. So basically, we are letting people know exactly kind of what they need before they even launch into a workflow. So if you look at this and you're like, here's Ford, I do not have Ford Pass or know what it is, this is probably not the way that you need to be connecting. So a little thing that we did, I'm still working on like what this will look like down here at the bottom. This My Car doesn't have an app. There's a little bit of styling that can get done there, but basically if your car doesn't have an app, you can add it manually, and this will be a similar process to what people are familiar with now. You can pick my car, here's my model year, pick it, boom, I can add the car there. Again, there's no like hero element, there's no like huge screen or a huge image or whatever. It's like, if you look at people like, I pulled Lyft, you can add your car to Lyft as like just like to start storing your service, and all of that. And I pulled from them, their screen is a gray screen with drop downs, make, model, year, that's it. Or you could do it straight by VIN or whatever you want to do. And like, they are realizing, they've realized this, what we are sort of talking about here, like, this is not where anybody's coming to like shine on this product. This is like an administrative, let's just get it through. Let's make it look nice. Let's make it match what we're doing, but we're not trying to like really dwell on it. So as we get into Ford Pass here, I did not mock up the smart car modal, but imagine we're logging into smart car. And then we land here back at our main sort of vehicle tab. This is our, at this point, I've fudged a little bit of this here, so there are a couple gaps here. But basically what I want to do is get it to a point where here I am, I'm connected. If I do nothing else, I'm earning, I'm seeing some data, and I can go and discover the platform. I don't need to get like walk through a whole bunch of junk. One of the things that I'm doing here though is there are things that we want people to do, and this is when you set up any account, there's add a profile picture, add your name, add like a bio or whatever, right? There are things that we sort of consider to be like a full onboard or a full car that's been set up. So I put together this little setup widget here, which tells you how many things you have remaining.
Mm-hmm.
And when you tap it, it pops open a couple of things that we want you to do. And again, this big thing would, scroll up. So we don't only have this much space, but I didn't mock it up that well. What I want to do here is let people onboard kind of like they know that they have stuff to do. They know that their account is like they're still fine. They're still set up. They can still see data. They can still use the product, whatever. But they still know that there's stuff that they want to do, and it's not dismissible. So that you can just ignore it. We're leaving it up there so that you have to, hey, you're not really all the way set up. So those things are, some of them may be like, I have the vehicle commands enabled here, but we'd prompt somebody for vehicle commands. We'd prompt them to name the vehicle. But what I need to solve for here is not just how do we get people to do this, because I don't want to just start throwing a bunch of workflows at them, but how do we make them discover or allow them to discover features that we have and also where those features are. So if I wanted to claim my vehicle ID, I can pop up a little tooltip telling me, oh, claim my vehicle ID here. Now I'm engaging with this. I'm tapping on those 3 dots. I'm discovering, oh, okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that maybe it would have taken me a little while to go and find. But now here's my vehicle ID. Okay, I'll go do that. Or I'll go do this glove box thing. The reason that I'm not launching them straight from this into those workflows is those are not that short workflows, especially the vehicle ID is a pretty involved workflow. But B, if I launch them into those workflows from here just by tapping on that, I haven't actually told them where they can access that stuff once they've done it. So if I went straight into vehicle ID, minted my vehicle ID or claimed my vehicle ID, did the customize or did the whole thing and was like, cool, great, done. I get back here, my car picture changes to my, custom picture, whatever. And then I'm like, wait, I want to go back and check that out. And then you're like, where was that? You've never actually engaged with it where it lives. You've engaged with it through like a shortcut.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as a user, I think it's great. As a developer, I kind of hate your guts, but that's
Thank you.
That's
not
new.
How it should be.
That's
I know you love I know you love these. So
that's tough. I'm thinking. As you go through this process, I like to think about like what I would do to actually get this done. I think that's kind of common for any developer. It's just like you immediately start pulling apart pieces and thinking, okay, could I do it this way or could I do it that way, or how would I do it in an efficient way? There's a couple of things that come to mind. I think we're going to get into it in a little bit here, but yeah, like it's not an easy thing. I think, the funny thing is like there are like apps, especially for like the web, like SaaS products out there that solely like will take your SaaS product and make like an onboarding feature for it. Because it is like a hard problem. And companies, regardless if you're doing something like a simple shopping experience or like you have a very like in-depth like B2B SaaS product, like they know that like getting people to really understand what your product can do and kind of like hand-holding you through that beginning experience is so important to like the customer journey or the user journey, and that like I don't know, just that whole retention aspect of it. It's I don't know how many times I've left an app too early without giving it a fair chance, just because like my initial impression was like, you know what, there's nothing for me to do here. Or like,
the thing with this is like, if you want to get in here, connect your vehicle, and immediately like check out your range, or immediately like let's hide it up here, but like immediately start to get into like, oh, your location, or and again, this thing will fold up. I just haven't set it up in Figma, but and start to get into some of like your habits or whatever. Like you can do that. You can start using the product, but you sort of know, hey, on my own time, I've got other stuff that I want to get done here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's happening?
Did you freeze?
No, your thing just like did the face tracking thing. It just
did it?
Yeah.
Oh no, it did.
Okay, on a similar admin note or whatever, I went to click the chat on Riverside, and it gives me 2 options. I can type my own message, but it gives me 2 prompts. Prompt 1, hello Dylan, for some reason. Prompt 2 is a link to my design system on Figma. But yeah, I don't know why. I guess those are the only messages I've sent in chat recently. But okay, Never mind.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
this is,
Go for it.
I don't know. I love where we're going with this. I love the idea of like immediately presenting the user with options and things to do. But there is kind of like a, I wouldn't say a science, but more like an art to basically like giving stuff to do versus making them feel like there's too much. You know, if you ask for too much, the user's gonna say like, you just keep taking from me. You never are
Right.
giving me anything. Like, how do we like balance all that? Like, how do we really say like, this is kind of like an investment. Like, the more you work with Demo, the more you're gonna get out of it, and not just immediately, but also long term.
Yeah.
Like, how are we solving for that?
How do I not make you go through, like, if you put yourself in the shoes of like there's your best case and then there's your sort of like worst case, not in terms of
No,
quality of user but quality of experience. And I think
sure.
about like somebody coming to this from signing up with a wallet
Mm-hmm.
where they've signed up with a wallet, they've had to sign a transaction, they've had to go through to their
Mm-hmm.
email to verify their email, they've
Yep.
had to, they've had more hoops to jump through. They get to connecting a car, they go, they launch Ford Pass or whatever, they sign in there. To then like that, somebody like that who's gone through this is like, finally now I can use this thing,
Yep.
right? If I stuffed them straight into the like, cool, now it's time to claim your vehicle ID. Here's a customizer, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more transactions you got to sign, and blah blah blah. I mean, you're
Yep.
just like, somebody's just like, dude, enough. Like, let me,
Yep.
like, I can't even use this. So
Yeah.
you have to be sort of measured with what you expose people to, and where you can let them be like, where we can let somebody be like, hey, we have enough that if you do nothing, we at least like are going to tell you that we still want a little bit more from you, but like you can
Yeah.
still go use the product, and we
Well,
have, we have you
let,
onboarded.
let me throw a curveball at you, okay? Because
Awesome.
we're a Web3 product, and there are, when you sign up and you engage in the community, we've got a token. There's, basically the whole thing there, and we need to let people know that like they've hit a minimum and that they're good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, at what point do we really say like, hey, if you do nothing else, you're still in the clear? Like, or how do we communicate that without making people feel like they've got just more and more and more to go before they hit that minimum?
Yeah, it's not really a curveball. It's just a thing to
Yeah, it's
think
not a
about.
curveball, but it's not on your sheet right now. Like, I don't. I'm going through your stuff, and it's beautiful, and it looks great. And if I'm super engaged, I'm gonna do
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's a lot to ask for somebody, especially like if they only have like 10 minutes.
sure.
And like, how are we gonna show the user that they're set up for the minimum?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, I think parts of that come from here where, I could do something visually and indicate like, like if you can use Instagram without having a bio written, right?
Mm,
And you've done enough, right? How I can convey to somebody, you've done enough. You haven't done, everything, and we still would like you to go get your, add a document to your glove box or whatever,
sure.
because, you know. So that's still a little bit of a challenge that I think, to be completely honest, we haven't explored as fully as we should or as we
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
But there's also an entire product here that you'd be interacting with, not just this one screen that we've landed on. So
Mm,
messaging on rewards in particular, to be able to tell somebody, hey, you're good, your car is qualified, you're earning points this week,
yep.
check, right? At least then somebody could be like, cool, I'd like to add my insurance info to my glove box, but I don't have it on hand. I'll do it later, and not feel like, oh, am I like jeopardizing something? Am I not earning?
Hmm.
Am I going to see less data? Am I going to see like,
Yeah.
is anything going to be different for me other than I haven't used like a bit of functionality?
Could we do like a modal or some sort of pop up that's just like, congratulations, like you've made it. You know what
Yeah,
I
when
mean?
you connect, the thing I didn't put in here is when you connect, you're gonna get a little thing that says you're connected. Here's
Okay.
what you need to do. So
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
I'm
So
not
we
done yet.
okay, you're not done yet. My bad. My
No,
bad.
let me load. Let's do this. Let's go through real quick. I'll show sort of a couple of the runner-ups and talk a little bit about why we aren't doing things that way. But
Sure.
then I think we're already, we're already almost halfway, so then we can get into some fun stuff because I have some fun stuff that I want you to
Oh,
do.
jeez. When you say fun stuff, I think it's fun for everybody else. But
That's part
for
of
this
being an
guy,
engineer, Aaron. That's just part of being
yeah.
an engineer.
By the way, DIMO is hiring, so if you've got any skills, we would love for you to apply, especially
Yeah,
front
yeah,
end,
yeah.
mobile app experience. We
Yeah, if you're a front-end
please,
engineer, please apply.
please,
Please apply.
stop what you're doing.
Yeah, stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Don't write a cover letter. Just apply. We don't care. Just apply.
No, we do like experienced people.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure, but
yeah.
don't
If you like the
waste
stuff
your
that
time.
Ben does and you're not going to hate your job, you should apply for sure.
Cool. Let me show you a thing that I did, and you hated it, and I see why. And I ran it by a few other people, and I agree at this point. But I'm going to show you sort of this was our straw man runner up before we arrived at the checklist here.
Okay, let's see it.
This guy here. This is the one that we looked at yesterday. So what would happen in this is a user would land on this screen right after they'd get maybe a little tray that's like you're connected, start doing all this stuff to set up your vehicle. This would be a different experience for a user to set up their vehicle, which would be much more like hands-on, would be asking a lot more of them, like asking them to engage in a lot more kind of right off the bat.
I feel like I've already done a lot, and now you're asking me to do more in this scenario.
Exactly. So even though I could technically skip it down here, maybe I do, but maybe I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. It's a complicated project. So this, in this one, I would set a nickname up here. I'd type it in, done. I would then, get prompted, do I want to do commands? Yes, no. Let's say yes. Cool, my thing changed. Then I'm guided to where my vehicle ID is, and I could go in from there. What, again, doesn't work about this, you can't edit your nickname in the app just by tapping on it up at the top. We don't let you do that, and that'd be mad annoying to have people accidentally doing that all the time. So you haven't discovered where you can actually do that. We're asking a lot of you, again, to just like keep doing more stuff. In my notes over here, somewhere, I wrote technically annoying. And I agree. For you to anchor a tooltip, especially over here, the less of that you have to do is sort of the better, because it's a pain in the ass.
It is a pain in the ass. I agree 100%.
Yeah. So we did that one. We had a little kind of carousel approach here where we would do like a snap carousel of like just stuff you could do. So I could be like command, and then snap to like, ooh, I could do a vehicle ID. Oh, I could start doing stuff in Glovebox. Again, doesn't tell people where to access any of those features. It's big and intrusive. It makes you wonder, like, am I actually set up or not? I think the only thing that you could really get away with this on is the commands, and I actually have the wrong text in here. This would just be like yes or no. You would, that is like, you're not engaging. You don't need to go discover that. That's like a setting, and so you do Face ID to make sure you're you, so that we can make sure it's you unlocking your car. That's the only one of these that this can really work for. The other ones are like, again, I want you to discover where these things are and where you can go back to them once you're done with them.
No, I agree. It's I like how you set up like a situation you thought like, okay, this is good, but we're gonna keep going further, because I feel like what is your internal process that says like, you know what, I'm close but I'm not there yet? Like, what is, like, how do you measure that? How do you know that you need like one more iteration, one more sort of try at it?
There are times where you can definitely just tell where you're looking at it and you're like even as simple as like this workflow, I'm still like, yeah, maybe do a little more. Like, maybe we can make it a little nicer, right? And if I don't, honestly, whatever. It's not an ugly screen. It's one boring screen that you're going to hopefully only see a few times and like get through. Whatever. But there are times where you can look at it and you can just go, okay, what's the problem I'm trying to solve, and who am I trying to solve it for? And if I am those people, and if I put it in front of those people, which we have a great community of people who we can put stuff like this in front of and say, does
Yep.
this work? If we're arriving at a place where the implementation is doable, the interactions make sense, the design makes sense, the layout makes sense, it's aesthetically pleasing, which I guess is subjective, but
Sure.
whatever. That's at a point where we could say, hey, at least we can build this and then keep gathering feedback about it. What I put together here, other than like maybe I'll do a different button for my car doesn't have an app, right? I was trying one over here, right? Other than that, I feel good that what we put together for this, at the very least, solves the problem for the user of like, how do I connect a car, with my app with a miner, or how do I add a car and not connect it if I don't have connected vehicle services? And I mean, it gets the job done, and we can start learning, okay, what doesn't work with the design, what also maybe like what hiccups, what assumptions did we make technically that like maybe we're wrong about,
Yep.
and go from there. But you're never like, you rarely design a feature on a product or a project like this and have it be like untouchably done.
Oh yeah.
And say like, this is it.
This is like the third time we've built this whole
Right,
flow.
you don't.
Yeah,
You just
I
like
mean,
you just
very familiar.
you want things that you say, even things like how do I turn on and off like a setting? Like maybe we figure out, hey, maybe it's annoying. Maybe we should surface it somewhere else. Like you're never done. So you get it to a point where you're like, I have a good degree of confidence. This solves the problem that I want it to solve. It's buildable. We can support it technically. I've put it in front of some people who agree and, who are our target users and who say like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's intuitive to me.
Yeah.
At that point, you kind of just go like, hey, we're trying to build a lot of stuff pretty quickly. It's time to get it out and get some data on it.
Yep. Awesome. This looks great. Definitely. I don't know if the word I would use excited, but I like the design.
There are more exciting things to come.
No, it's cool. It is a bunch of work, and it is weird. Like the thing that I always know about like programming, it's like building like the base of like the absolute most only functional version of what you need is like X amount of work, and then like to do a really nice UI UX version of that is like not just twice as much work or even 3 times. It's like 10 times the work. You add in a lot more state. You add in a lot more sort of like spots where things could go wrong, so you need to error handle that properly. It is a lot, but at the end of the day, like I would say that bare minimum thing, you're so likely to have people just not understand stuff. A lot of people will always say like, "Hey, function over form," and that's true. But if no one's really completing your function, then like you don't you don't have really like a lot to stand on.
Yeah.
And this is complicated stuff.
Yeah, I have a couple. They're not on the screen, but I have a couple error handling things for this as well. Like smart car auth failed.
Sure.
Oops. What do we do there? Do we spit them back here? Do we send them somewhere else? So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my portion of this for today. I think.
Yeah.
I have lots
You had
of
a lot.
galaxy. I have galaxy brain things, but I don't want to set anything
Well, how about
off.
this? Let's look at some bugs real quick, because I think
Yeah.
want half of like being a developer is that you're gonna hit bugs, and then your job is to also fix those bugs. So it's not all sunshine, I guess you would say. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and you know what though? Before we get into bugs, you want me to correct some stuff on our updated onboarding, isn't that right? Are you? Oh, I was
nodding. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it then.
Let's do it then.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Awesome. Let's get into it. Yeah. So, loving the new look, loving the way that we're like
We're gonna
minimizing.
we're gonna
like,
get a
the people
new
who are returning their
background image.
sessions. Say what?
We're gonna have that image is gonna come in with more of our colors in it. We're still waiting
Yeah.
on it. So
Even this image though, it looks sweet. So if we can do a little bit better, that's even cooler.
pretty sick. Okay, here's point number 1. Get rid of biometrics. No one knows what biometrics are.
All right, start off strong. I like it.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and reload this thing. We're gonna go. Let's see what it says here. Use biometrics. Okay.
Yep.
Use biometrics.
The thing that's annoying on this is because we are because this is cross-platform, we can't just throw use Face ID.
We might be able to actually. Let's see this.
Do you want to start like if iPhone whatever then, because if you
No,
can
I've got-
do that, that'd be great. But for all our Android people or people like you who are on like an iPhone 4, we're gonna.
I'm not on
have
an
to-
iPhone 4. I don't know why you have to say that. It's like a 6 or 7. I don't know which one it is.
It's functionally
It's
a
not a
4.
4.
Functionally a 4.
Aye. All right. Here's what we're gonna do here. I'll kind of explain some of the work. I'm gonna stage it up real quick. Can I use the word use?
Yeah.
Use, and then we're gonna go and do this. Like that.
Hell yeah. Let's give it
All right.
a little more space between the input and the button. What's your
All right.
spacing?
Like that.
Yeah, what is XL?
That's 40 pixels.
Okay.
I can
Yeah.
go 48.
Do 48.
48. All right. Let's talk about this. So, for those of you who don't know JavaScript that well or some of the newer features, it's not that new, but this thing right here is called a string template. And basically what we're doing is we know we're going to use the word use. And then this is kind of tricky. Basically, we're able to tap into the API of our phone device, and we don't have total awareness, but we do know like if it is a touch ID, it kind of specifies that. So we're just saying like, hey, if I know it's a touch ID, go ahead and write out the word touch ID. Otherwise, use the word Face ID. So that's basically where we are. The Face ID is the one that's actually kind of tricky because sometimes it just says like, yeah, it's got biometrics, but it doesn't specify that it's Face ID. But given that like all newer devices are Face ID, we feel more confident with this one.
What's the Android equivalent of this stuff? I don't remember.
I think they might use Face ID.
No way. As Apple.
I don't know.
That.
I don't know. I have the Samsung 22 or S22, but
No, theirs is like face.
something.
Whatever. Something annoying.
The problem with that, I think, is that like they would say, like even if it's Android, it might be like Samsung says this, but like Motorola says that, or the
Yeah.
Google phone says this, Pixel says this.
You're probably right. They're gonna just have to deal with it. Whatever.
Yeah. When I say Face ID and you're on Android, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Let's just.
You're using the bootleg version anyway.
Yeah. Okay, let's go here. We've got our login. I'm here. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to go ahead and get back to our onboarding so we can go ahead and start hacking away at that. Good, you are typing up a storm over there.
Oh, you can hear it.
No, you're good. It's a very lovely keyboard. All right. Oh. And what I do here.
To answer the question in the chat, are we the devs for the token as well? I am a front-end product designer, so I am doing nothing. I am not touching the token, and Aaron is front-end engineer here. So the two of us are not the guys to talk to for token-related.
We should bring on, Laurent or some of the other Web3 guys on the team just to talk about it. It is kind of cool. There are certain
I
cases.
keep out of that things. I keep out of. That's like there are people much smarter than me who do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but Laurent does make some pretty charts. We should give him a chance to shine there. All right, let's go here.
Let's go here. I have some things for here.
All right, so you first of all hate the fact that we have this thing here, so we're gonna have to re-engineer how this whole acknowledgement works.
Yeah, I specifically didn't do this. I specifically left this out. We are fine.
Tell me how you really feel, Ben.
We are fine to just bypass this. We can talk offline about why, but we are fine to just bypass this. We do not need.
So let's go to the first screen people with a wallet would see, and that is the email. And I know you specifically hated the color being here.
Despise it. Yes, make it white with the same opacity. There's
White
no,
with the same. That's easy. I can do that.
yeah. The reason for this is this doesn't need to be red because no error has actually occurred. So
Okay,
that's it, done. What I had
that's
originally
it.
thought was, hey, let's pop it open with the keyboard up and use the system done to advance people, but I get
Mm-hmm.
it. It's not a big deal. Um,
Yep.
okay,
Okay, that's easy
onward.
enough.
Let's do it. So next one will obviously need to be white at 100% when
So
you
we're
confirm it.
here, and again, confirm email. This is kind of tricky. Let's talk about this real quick because I'm in a situation where how do we want to handle this? I mean, when someone puts in like the paste from the clipboard, or they just enter in the code manually and they get all the way through to the 6 digits,
Mm-hmm.
should we just automatically do it or what?
Sorry, one more time.
Once we have like a paste from clipboard, or we have like all 6 inputs filled
Mm-hmm.
out, should we just do we need a continue button? Do we just
No,
want
we
to?
should. If we can, we can since it's all filled, we can
Hmm.
just try to advance. And if it's wrong, then we'll throw them the error. But if we, everything we can do with that, like on this, I think yeah. If you're pasting from clipboard, let's move you right along. I don't need you to hit continue.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting one. So let's talk about how we're going to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's talk about the code sum. So we actually do have like this already in place. There is a really cool in React. We have something that are called hooks, and on our components, these are things that like are efficient, but they can kind of do cool different things. And it's hard to describe because each one there's like some primitives, and they all have different roles. One of them that you'll use quite a bit if you are a React developer or you're interested in getting into it is something called use effect. Um, Back in the early development of React, there used to be this whole class component thing, and the class component specifically had hooks, what we call hooks, but different lifecycle points. We'd say like, "Hey, I'm loading up this component, or I'm exiting this component, or I just re-rendered, or something like that." This whole use effect replaces that old school thing, and you can actually trigger it up to certain like changes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually hooked up with a special form that's you know built to be like very very optimized, so it's performant. And we listen to the number of inputs, and we say like, hey, when we reach a length of 6, go ahead and submit this thing. So we're already kind of doing that. I'm going to go ahead and just do something really quick and lazy, and I'm just going to say, hey, opacity 0 and pointer vent equal none, which is essentially going to do, I mean, it's going to remove it from the view, or at least people aren't going to see it, and it's going to make it so that I couldn't click on it even if I wanted to, even if I knew it was there. But the reason why I did it that way instead of just removing it is because I want to keep this pagination consistent across different like um, views. But Ben, how do we feel about that? Because again, if I'm over here on the email one, let me just go to email real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this thing right here, and it's perfectly set up to be in that same spot. If I go back to confirm email, it's right there. Do you like that? Do we not care? What are your thoughts about that little
No,
bit?
I keep it there. Keep it.
Okay,
Keep it the same.
let's
I
keep it
don't
there.
want that thing moving all the way around. The reason it's stuck toward the bottom is so that it specifically doesn't do that. Because you don't want you're looking at this as a reference point for how far do I have to get through this process. I don't want to
Yep.
be like looking for my progress bar. My progress bar needs to be
Yeah,
exactly where it is. I have one
absolutely.
question though before or after. If you got a thing, but I have a question.
Go, hit me with it.
What format are you using for the time? Because the code will expire at whatever.
Yeah. So because we're like kind of developing this thing, we didn't actually bring it from the back end,
Mm-hmm.
but we are. I will tell you that. HHMM, which is just like hour and minute.
Mm-hmm. Is it 24-hour? Are we pulling the users like the system
I think
time?
it's 24-hour. That's a good question. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do.
I would do the opposite of what you've got. I wouldn't say this code
You
will.
would want me to do the opposite.
I
of what
wouldn't
I'm
say
already-
this code expires at whatever time because that's dependent on us accurately getting the user's time zone or showing them like some UTC time that's going to mean nothing to most people. I would
Yeah.
I would count it down saying this code will expire in 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever. I would do
So
it that way.
so this is what it currently looks at. You're totally right. Let's go ahead, use your time zone, all that kind of stuff. We want to say there's a from now. Let's see what this. We could probably move the word at.
Yes, we should.
So this is gonna be relative. Will expire in 5 minutes.
Yep, perfect. Why don't we line break that too? So the code, we'll put the code will expire in 5 minutes on its own line.
Yeah, I'm trying the code. Okay, let's do that.
And again, here, this works because we're putting different, the information is line 1, information 1, line 2, information 2, but we're already on 2 lines, so we're not going to actually mess with any of our spacing.
Yeah. And I
Perfect.
went ahead and did this. This is like a React special thing that's just going to break up a new line. There's other ways to do it, but that'll do the trick. You happy with that?
Yes.
All right. You're kind of hard to place. So I got to check, you know. All right. So this should do what we want it to do. I'm pretty happy about this. I do want to go ahead and just show you the error real quick. So I'm going to update this to just say something like, this code is incorrect. How's that look?
Below.
You want it below?
I don't want the input moving.
I
And then if
figured
you
you
could
would.
make it all caps and just say wrong in like giant font.
Are you serious?
No, of course not.
Oh, I don't know you.
I would stick it
All
down
right.
below. I would stick it down below the paste from clipboard. It should just be
All right.
like.
I had a
pop
feeling
in
you're
there.
gonna be difficult about this whole thing. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna
Do I need
jump
to
in, even though.
hijack my screen share to show you where I where I put this.
All right, here we are. Like that.
Yeah, is it? I'm struggling with like how much is over screen share. Like one of the points I was gonna have on the intro slides was like, is the text legible? Is the gradient at the bottom
I think you
substantial
just
enough?
take this from a light color to like a regular width. So not color, but weight, and then that would be fine.
Yeah, no. All I'm saying is I can't tell over screen share.
It's
if,
a little hard.
Yeah, make
I
it
mean,
easier.
listen, I think a user's gonna see red.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna know that instinctively, like, oh, something's up, you know. And at the point that it is, the other thing that we do, if it is wrong, we just reset that whole thing. So like, you kind of know what's up there.
What's your maybe tell people how do you do the gradients? I don't know if like
Yeah, we want to go
talk
over
me
gradient.
show me how you do the gradient on something like this.
We're
'cause I do
actually
it my
using
way.
like a component to do our gradient, so we have total control
Okay.
there. I did something that I thought leaned into your thing. Now, I have it set up for the entire onboarding process. So if you're like, dude, I need a different gradient for this one
No,
view.
I need because even on the intro slide I was like, is this I can't tell if it's just like losing quality from the screen share that is making this hard to read or if we need to up the gradient.
So let's look
that's why
at
I'm
this. I'm
asking.
going to go ahead and hide all this stuff. Just take these two. We're going to do basically no gradient to no gradient. I need at least two colors here. And this is what this looks like without any gradient.
What's the where does your box end for the gradient?
What do you mean my box? The gradient's gonna go. So because we have 5, it's gonna just do 20%, 20%, 20%.
No. My question is, are you running the gradient over the entire screen, or does it end? Because on a like when I do a
Oh,
gradient,
it's gonna go over the entire screen. It's gonna go even.
baby,
to,
can
like,
you say stop at this level, like stop at this height? Because what I'm saying is when I do this gradient in design, I take a box, I fill the box with the gradient.
Yeah.
And the box, I don't put the rectangle. I don't put the rectangle over the entire screen because I don't need to. I don't necessarily need the gradient to go up past the top of these inputs here. The gradient can kind of stop because like we're going into a black sky. I don't really need the gradient. So my gradient actually I think stops like either right above the inputs or like halfway in the boxes or halfway in the inputs or something like that. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we can do that. The thing that I hate doing that because even though on Figma it blends in really nicely, I found on the phone that like you can always detect a little bit of a line.
Yeah,
So
you have to end
mhm.
the gradient before the end of the box. Because
Yeah, and on
if you extend it past the box, then it just stops. But if you end the actual like gradient
yeah.
before the box, then it'll go smooth.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. I think we could finesse it some, but how
Hmm.
far off do you think we really are, and where would you? For me, this is probably like, this is close enough to like your thing that I would say like this is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
yeah.
step
I'm just
forward.
saying there are other things
No.
that will be more important than this.
Okay. Well, I like this. I think this is fair. The only thing I would say is like maybe we could go from a light font to like a regular font for the uh
For the
for when
error.
we have like an error message.
Yeah. I didn't want to like roll like a error like toast or something in there. I was like, no,
No,
we
I
can
don't
be a
like
little
that
better than
either.
that.
Let's just look at this as regular. There's like not a ton of difference. And again, I think like people are gonna see red and they're gonna know like and the whole thing
Yeah, I mean, I
clears.
still need to read it though.
Yeah. So you want regular? What's the final
Yeah,
decision
go
here?
for it. Do regular. It's fine.
Regular. All right. And then I got to put a do for myself. There we
Cool.
go.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Just a time check. We got 9 minutes left.
I'm gonna be hanging out. I can go over, but I know you got stuff to do.
I got things to do, Ben. I don't know what to tell you. Let's go check out the create pin. Or do you want to go over the region? The
I want to just
region's
keep
cool.
going. Just go next. I just want to keep
All
going
right.
through everything.
This is our region. This is special.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think we
I don't think that text is legible.
yeah, down here.
Yeah,
Okay.
we gotta up that. You really can't read that.
I agree. So, are we thinking regular instead of light?
No, I think it's the gradient. It's because it's sitting on white background.
Hmm. Okay. So, what we're gonna do here is just double this up. So this is really, and then we can probably bring this down to like 0.6, something like that. But
That's better.
it's really dark now, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how much of this is I'm looking at it losing quality on a screen share, and
Mm-hmm.
how much of it is accurate. So I need to defer to you on this. But
Yeah, I agree with
this
you
stuff
that
has
like
to be legible.
what I would say is why don't we go ahead and publish it as it is for test flight? You'll take a look at it and you'll give me some notes.
Okay, that works.
So I'll even put a little to do.
Come back
Need
to
to
this.
polish the gradient bubbles. And there might be a way with this like component to go ahead and like really specifically do something like that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. We'll play with it. I get it though. This is
Yep.
totally. You're right. Where this is legible, we could maybe move this to the top because we really have all this space up here where it is much more legible.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't. It doesn't need to run the whole.
The other thing we could
It only
do
needs
is
to run 2/3 of the screen.
we could also just go dark over the whole thing. And now it's subtle, but it makes it more easy to read.
Yeah, let's get a test flight out and I can actually look at it on the
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, I have a nitpicky question. Not that I've ever
Uh-oh.
nitpicked before. Why? Why's the icon? Turn the icon. Why
Well,
is it straight up?
okay, because I couldn't find the icon.
Just okay.
All right,
Take
let's go
the.
here.
Oh my god.
Let's go here. Let's
Take.
go to the directory.
Oh my god.
And if I go navigation, I see it for feather, but for material, I only have this.
Material
Is there, like,
community
what's the name of it?
navigation. It's right above you.
That's the community. Those don't work as well as you think they do.
Just import my icons. I don't know.
You're
Take
killing
that
me,
one.
Smalls. You're killing me. Hold on a second.
It's navigation variant.
A B C D E F G. Man, I should really learn the alphabet.
It's gonna be
Okay.
above this.
Yeah. Near me.
Near me.
Oh. All right, Mr. Nitpicky, you get what you want.
And it looks better. It's gonna look better.
How do you feel,
Breathtaking. Yeah,
oh my
I
gosh.
feel like I've accomplished something today. See, Bean Jackson agrees. Rotate 45 degrees.
I mean, don't do that. You're just gonna
See?
stroke his ego,
See?
and it's just gonna
Exactly.
it's gonna spiral from here.
Plus
I hope you
one
know what
Bean
you've done.
Jackson.
Oh my god.
On
I hope you have trouble sleeping tonight.
onward. That design change was essential. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Doubling down. Ugh. Got some enemies out there.
I don't know how
All
much
right.
sarcasm is going on in here, but this is fine. This looks better. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Next.
All right.
Now flip it
Let's talk
over.
about like some of the cool stuff here, like I don't know, the programming. I want to talk about geolocation stuff because your boy did some good work here and it needs to be showcased. So, let's talk. You tell me what you want this thing to do, and then we'll say if I nailed it. How about that?
Okay.
And you got 4 minutes to do it.
What do I want this thing to do?
Yeah. When you designed this thing, what did you want the user to experience, and then we'll see if I nailed it.
I wanted the user to tap enable location. We would give them the system, we would give them the prompt. You want location services while using the app. There's a number of reasons why we want that, which you can use it without that. It's fine. But and I wanted when somebody enables location for the background to actually find them on the map and show them, basically us telling them like, hey, we know where you are, not in just a little like in the iOS little system thing or whatever, but to be able to be like, nope, we know like our tech works. Here's where you are.
All right.
Is that
So
accurate?
we're not going to see it on this demo because I've already accepted the permission. But I'm going to go ahead and hit enable location, and it's going to go ahead. iOS has it set up so it doesn't dox you. It's going to just pull up like a general location of San Francisco. It's kind of spoofing it, and then here we are. The one thing I would say is we probably need to finesse like the zoom length, and then you'll probably have to give me a tile set with like labels stripped out so it's not so distracting.
Yeah, I need to do that. So I need to get in and update our styling. I do really, I think there's a few things on this that still need some help here. And one of them can maybe be accomplished by this.
Yeah.
But I think what I had thought, or what my plan was the sort of spot where we're going to snap to you, I think is top third of the screen. So
Okay.
I want to show you higher up.
Yeah, and I
'cause right
kind of
now
started doing that. It's a little tricky, but yeah, I
I
get what
know.
you're thinking.
But it's like, again, I think I need to strip all the street names and stuff out, so that it's not so distracting. And
Yep.
I think we're gonna need to do some gradient work again, just to make sure. Like, I
Yep.
want to see it on test flight, but once we actually do it, we're probably gonna need to revisit some of that stuff. But in general, the direction here and the plan here is give a nice sort of like good feeling experience. We're asking people to give us location permissions. That's got to feel premium. It's got to feel, that can't feel kind of busted. We're asking people for sensitive stuff amidst, privacy this, privacy that. So we wanna
Now,
be-
I got lazy on the choose a different color because I kept like our old thing.
yeah, we got.
How much do you hate this?
We're gonna need to update it. It's we still need to update it.
Killing me.
I
Killing me, but
know.
you're right. All
But
right, we're going to put
I-
a little to do there.
I already have it mocked out, but it's using the old inputs. It's using the old font in there. I think I broke it out using the new list component, and so it'll just flow a lot better. And yeah, there we go.
Okay.
I think I know who MC Ride is.
Uh-oh. So, we got to wrap up here. Again, for people who, catching the very end of this or managed to stay through an hour of us working or workshopping or whatever it is you want to call it, what we're doing here. DIMO is an awesome project. If you haven't downloaded the app, do it today. It's awesome. tell your friends, tell your family. Join the Discord if you want to get more involved or just want to see some of the chatter that's going on. You're more than welcome to get on that Discord and bug Ben and myself about certain things. We're going to be doing these kind of chats every week at the same time. And yeah, this is a lot of fun. I think we're having a good time here. If you guys have questions between now and the next one, or you want to see something more special, let us know. I know that somebody today asked about the token. We don't work on that, but we can talk about some of the places where we do touch Web3 stuff, like the minting process that we've implemented. That's actually using a really cool meta transaction with the Ethereum gas station. It's really, really cool stuff. We don't know how all that stuff works, but we do know how it works to the user's point of view. So,
Yep.
anything you want to add there, Ben?
No, I'm gonna message you after this. In like
Oh,
an
you got
hour.
more work for me to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I got some fun stuff, but we'll touch base after this. If you're an engineer, front end engineer, apply for a job, please. We need help. And if you're a product designer, apply, please. We need help.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
And ping us on Discord so we know it's you. Cause
Yeah, absolutely, guys. This has
All
been
right.
great.
Cool.
What do you think, Shaolin?
I think you guys did great.
Yeah.
New mics, new
Yeah.
webcam
We
looks
upgraded
good.
we upgraded.
We
Love
had
it.
Just trying
All
to
right.
be on your level. All right, Aaron, you can drop.
more people view, and they've watched longer.